Sua notices the towel and picks it up with a calculating expression. Later, Sua meets Principal Choi, presenting the towel as leverage. "I think I know how to get Real King to cooperate," she smirks. At the dance festival, Yeon-do and her friends, now energized, storm the stage. They toss off their capes, revealing edgy outfits beneath their school uniforms, and perform an electrifying routine. Midway through, Yeon-do twists her ankle but powers through to the end. Afterwards, the group is somber as Sung-woo and Jung-eun announce their decision to quit. They explain they participated in the festival for Yeon-do, but insist Real King is over. The group is left shattered, their earlier victory overshadowed by the looming reality of their disbandment. Yeon-do takes responsibility for the group's morale and suggests a consolation noraebang outing. However, Sung-woo and Jung-eun decline, saying they need to return to school. Taking their decision in stride, Yeon-do assures them she has somewhere to be as well. At the hospital, Yeon-do gets her ankle treated. On her way out, she notices Yeol leaning against a wall. He brushes her off, telling her to mind her own business, but Ha-jun appears, revealing a bandaged wrist and blood-stained shirt. Alarmed, Yeon-do hesitates, but Yeol firmly tells her, "You didn't see us today." She limps away, casting a final concerned glance over her shoulder. As she navigates the hospital corridors, Yeon-do spots Teacher Yang arguing at the admin desk. Ducking to avoid him, she signals frantically to Yeol and Ha-jun. Yeol slips past behind a gurney, but Ha-jun veers off in another direction. Yeol ends up hiding with Yeon-do in a corner, clamping a hand over her mouth to keep her quiet. When Teacher Yang finally moves on, Yeol exhales in relief and leans his head against hers for a moment. Realizing the proximity, he pulls back with a teasing comment, "You're not so bad when you're quiet." Yeon-do glares, signaling for him to remove his hand, which he sheepishly does. Reunited, Ha-jun joins them, and they part ways. As Yeol turns to leave, he calls out with a crinkled smile, "Thanks, our Yeon-do." Embarrassed, she brushes it off. Nearby, Teacher Yang overhears Ha-jun's name at the admin desk and pieces together the situation. Back at school, Dong-jae waits for Yeon-do on the steps. She greets him with open arms, expecting a hug, but he walks past her to the boys instead. Yeol dismisses him with a sharp get lost and sweeps past. Frustrated, Yeon-do confronts Dong-jae, demanding to know what's going on. He avoids her gaze, saying quietly, "I can't." His blank expression leaves her disheartened. From the shadows, Teacher Yang observes with mounting concern. Later, in an empty classroom, Teacher Yang confronts Ha-jun with a hospital report. He pushes up Ha-jun's sleeve, exposing not only fresh bandages, but scars from years of self-harm. Gently, he urges Ha-jun to seek help. Panicked, Ha-jun drops to his knees, begging him not to tell the principal. If his father finds out, he fears being institutionalized. Meanwhile, Principal Choi questions Yeol about Ha-jun's self-harming, slyly suggesting that his parents might look into alternative facilities. She dangles a cruel ultimatum: Yeol must agree to the cheerleading competition and convince the Real King kids to join as well. Her smirk widens when she points out his goal to graduate alongside Ha-jun, knowing she has him cornered. Elsewhere, Yeon-do spots Sung-woo and Jung-eun in the hallway and lights up. But her smile fades as they enter a classroom with Sua. Curious, Yeon-do peeks in and sees Sua showing them a video of stunt cheerleading. Her heart sinks as she realizes this is why they left the group. That night, Yeon-do stretches out on a picnic bench under the stars with Dong-jae. She confides that she's been betrayed again. "How does that keep happening?" Dong-jae asks quietly. Her voice heavy with sadness, she replies, "I wish I knew." The next day, Yeol and Ha-jun emerge from separate meetings, both tense. Yeol smiles at Ha-jun, brushing off the unease by asking, "Hungry?" Ha-jun apologizes. Yeol snorts, calling him crazy, and they share a rare moment of lightness. In the morning, Dong-jae notices Yeon-do avoiding the Real King kids and questions her. She denies it, but her actions suggest otherwise. Yeol interrupts, asking for a private word, throwing a glance at Dong-jae. Dong-jae obligingly steps back, all of 2 paces. "Kang Yeon-do, let's do cheerleading together," Yeol says bluntly. Shocked by his sudden change of heart, Yeon-do folds her arms. 1, I don't hang out with people who go back on their word. 2, I refuse to be even remotely associated with Sua. With each point, she steps closer to him. 3, she declares, inches from his face. I definitely won't be doing cheerleading with you. She attempts to walk past, but Yeol grabs her wrist and pulls her back, shouting that she has to join. Unfazed, Yeondu threatens him with a painful demise until he releases her grip. Principal Choi has a pointed conversation with Ha-jun, asking if everything is okay since his father had expressed concern at the last committee meeting. While Ha-jun remains subdued, Yeol appears visibly angry at the principal's manipulation. It's clear that their agreement. Her silence about Ha-jun's self-harm in exchange for Yeondu and Real King joining the cheerleading team still weighs heavily on him. However, when Ha-jun asks Yeol about his interactions with Principal Choi, Yeol brushes it off as unimportant, proving yet again that he's a fiercely loyal friend. Tensions rise when Yeol and Ha-jun stumble upon a confrontation between Yeondu alongside Hyo-shik and Da-mi, and Soo-ah, flanked by Real King deserters Sung-woo and Kyung-eun. Soo-ah smugly flaunts the betrayal of Yeondu's former allies, insinuating that Yeondu is selfishly holding Hyo-shik and Da-mi back. However, Hyo-shik tells Soo-ah to shove it, earning a proud grin from Yeol as they walk past him. Later, Yeol approaches Soo-ah, asking how she managed to sway the Real King members. She retorts that she didn't need to bribe them. They joined White Tiger to avoid being expelled from the dorms. Refusing to give up, Yeol confronts Yeondu again, but she still won't listen. Determined, he devises a plan. He racks up demerits by deliberately breaking rules, ensuring he's assigned the same cleaning duty as Yeondu. As they crush milk cartons for recycling, Yeol tries to win Yeondu over. She challenges him to focus on the task if he really wants to prove himself. At first, they're slow and inefficient, but as Yeondu demonstrates a quicker method and adds a playful rhythm, the two begin working in sync. Despite herself, Yeondu starts to enjoy their teamwork, but she quickly pulls back, wary of letting her guard down. Yeol, however, grins knowingly, seeing the cracks in her defenses. Their brief camaraderie is interrupted when Hyo-shik shows up with his suitcase, revealing that he and Da-mi have been kicked out of the dorms. Yeondu apologizes for being unable to help, but Hyo-shik bravely hides his disappointment, maintaining his loyalty to her. Yeol, seeing her heartbreak, asks if she's really going to let her friends leave. Yeondu snaps, "What do you want me to do?" She knows that agreeing to cheerleading would fix everything, but she refuses to be manipulated. Overwhelmed, she breaks into sobs. Even an hour later, Yeondu is still crying. To her surprise, Yeol remains by her side. When Ha-jun calls to warn him that closing time is in 5 minutes, Yeol quips, "How about crying while you run?" They miss curfew and are locked out, but Yeol, ever resourceful, whistles for Ha-jun to lower a rope. Yeondu tries calling for help, but Soo-ah deliberately ignores her call. Refusing to rely on Yeol, Yeondu initially declines his help. Yeol presents her with 3 options: get caught and expelled, sleep outside, or climb the rope with his help. Begrudgingly, she chooses the third option. The pair climb the rope while Dong-jae anxiously waits inside, stalling the teacher conducting late-night inspections. When the teacher bursts into the room, Ha-jun claims Yeol is sick in bed. Beneath the covers, Yeondu hides alongside Yeol, clinging to the sheets as Yeol feigns illness to ward off suspicion. After the teacher leaves, Yeol softly apologizes to Yeondu for using her friends to try and convince her. Before he can finish, Ha-jun yanks the covers away, forcing Yeondu to flee. Yeol watches her leave, looking like he still has something important left unsaid.